Our producer is Shane Reardon. Our coordinating producer is Teresa Ann Seeger. Steve Kashul with Dr. Brian Cole at Sports Medicine Weekly on this Saturday morning on the Score 670. Thanks so much for being back with us, everybody. Our website is sportsmedicineweekly.com. Love to get into this new segment, Dr. Cole, here of the show, because this sits right up and down our alley. You and your selective work, me and mine. Okay, so I know you get up a lot of times at 5 a.m. and you work out, and then I'll see you at the Bulls game after a full day of seeing as many as 80 patients, which is true, and then I'll see you at the Bulls game at night, and you get home at 11 and 12. I don't know how you do it, because I don't have to wake up as early. But what I'm getting at, I'll get up, like a typical Monday for me is the hardest, okay, because I have a Bulls game.
Right.
And I've got a full-time commercial insurance job, which I love, at Esser Hayes Insurance Group in Naperville. And we always have 8:30 meetings on Monday.
Do you have to go there, or do you by phone?
No, definitely have to be there.
Yeah.
And I work a full day until about 4 o'clock, and I run home, say hi to the wife and kids for about 10 minutes, and I'm off to the Bulls game, and then I'll get home about midnight.
That's kind of like my Monday.
It is. I love it. I love everything I do, but I'm tired, okay? But here's the segment that we're doing right now. When fatigue is not resolved by more sleep. So I'll get home, my wife looks at me, and she knows I'm dead. I'm just like,
But you're not sleepy.
Yeah. She goes, go to bed. And I go, no, I need to unwind. I need to get a little something to eat, and I need to watch Golf Channel or a late show, or that's something
my guess is you couldn't go to sleep if you wanted to.
No, if I'm sick, then I go to sleep. But usually I need to unwind. But I am fatigued, but I'm not sleepy.
Yeah, I mean, I can give look.
Do you feel the same?
Clearly, that's a thing, right?
Okay.
I mean, there is absolutely a difference in terms of energy level and fatigue. And I remember, like, when my two boys were really young, coming home after work, and I couldn't, no way could I go to sleep, but I was just really low energy. And it was at a time when I probably gained 15 pounds in my first years, a couple years of practice. I was just working all the time to get things in place. And, I didn't have much help. I didn't have a nurse, didn't have a physician assistant. I was just trying to get my practice up and going. It was every night, trying to get, forms in place, whatever. It was a nightmare. And the internet was not like a big source of where we could put things. So we had file folders of, 8 sheets of paper to tell you how to do things. So I was up late every night, and I would come home, and I was just I would say I was fatigued. I wasn't tired. I just had not enough energy to engage with two kids who are just, all they want to do is roughhouse.
Right.
And I remember, for me, that was a pretty pivotal moment, in terms of changing things. So I'm psyched about the segment, because I think this is something that people have to be able to differentiate.
Absolutely. Our guest is Dr. Gina Sirchio, a board-certified chiropractor, also specializes in functional medicine, and is a board-certified nutritionist. Thanks so much, Dr. Sirchio, for joining us here on Sports Medicine Weekly. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so when fatigue is not resolved by more sleep, can you describe the difference in what people term fatigue against being sleepy?
Yeah. So if people are just a little low on sleep and they can take a nap, or they could go to bed a little bit earlier, sleep in a little bit, and they wake up refreshed, they were simply just sleepy, and they just needed to catch up a little bit. But instead, what we see a lot of people is it doesn't matter how much sleep they try to get, how they try to catch up, if they add an extra nap, they are exhausted, and sleep does not seem to repair the system. And so then we say that is fatigue. That is not just being sleepy. You can't fix that with one more extra long night. This is now what we call fatigue.
Okay, interesting. Now, Dr. Cole, I always try to get 7-8 hours of sleep. I really need it for my body, and I feel good. Can
you go to sleep, stay asleep 7-8 hours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're a rock star.
See, how about you? I mean,
no way.
You get home from a Bulls game after a full day at Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. Am I wrong? Midnight maybe and then you're up working out, or you're
Mondays I don't work out. It's Tuesday. I keep my main days Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then because I don't have any other meetings. So for me, I think the important thing is...
What's a lot of sleep for you during the week?
A lot? I mean, I would love... look, if I could do 8 and stay asleep 8, it would be a miracle. But that's just... my challenge is I actually can fall asleep very quickly, and I can still even take power naps, but I don't stay... I wake up. I don't stay... I just don't... I just wake up, and then I'm usually up about 2:30 till like 3:30 to
Seriously?
4, and I'll read the news which is the worst thing. In fact, I'd love for Gina to comment on that, but that's I don't know. Do you consider yourself also sort of an expert in sleep and other things as well?
Well, definitely, because they all have to do with body rhythms and hormones and diet. When we tie all that together, taking someone's health history, we always ask about sleep because it's a huge window into everything else they're doing.
So tell me, like, let's use me as an example, okay? I mean, and you know, as a chiropractor, one of the great things that you get to do, plus as with a background in nutrition, that's a wonderful combination because there's things that relate. But you get to take sort of a holistic approach here. It's not surgery, it's thought, it's intellectual energy. You get to really make a difference in someone's life. So I come to you and I say, look, not only do I have some low back discomfort and difficulties with mobility. I'm not sleep. I get this. I fall asleep right away when I get home, but I wake up, an hour later, and then I miss out, of that opportunity to sleep by 2-3 hours sometimes. What would be your analysis? In other words, what do you look in? What are the factors for a male that you look into and you think about?
Well, right off the bat, when we ask about sleep, those are the two questions we ask. Can you fall asleep? And if you can you stay asleep? Because those totally dictate two different things. For someone who is popping up awake, which is what you're saying, you can go ahead and crash out and then you're up again a couple hours later. We need to look at cortisol cycles and melatonin. Are you making enough melatonin? Are you actually having cortisol spikes through the melatonin? And those are two different things that we'd have to address from a different angle to support you staying asleep because that's restorative and healing. And certainly as someone that's doing surgery like yourself, you want your patients to be healing well. If they're not sleeping, they're getting half the healing they could get. So we're always looking at which level of the hormone is it? Is it habit? Is it something that's going on that you can control? Is it not? Some people actually are under eating and they go to bed, and so it's because their sugar is crashing and then they're waking up. They may not even feel hungry, but that's what made them pop awake. And so we have to dig through and figure out why can't you either stay asleep or for those that can't fall asleep.
Is cortisol a big factor? That seems to come up a lot when you're dealing with sleep cycles.
It is. Cortisol is a huge factor, I think, just in our life today, both because if it is too high at night, then you cannot sleep. Additionally, people lead very high stress, very busy lives, and even if they're good things, we're just on the go constantly. We're not sleeping enough. Even when we're awake, we've got, too many things on our plate at the same time. So it does. It's a powerful hormone, and it's amazing, and it does just terrific things for us. But like anything else, there's a zone it needs to be in, and if it exceeds it or is falling off the low end, we have big problems.
Visiting with Dr. Gina Sirchio from Rush. Steve Kashul with Dr. Brian Cole. It is Sports Medicine Weekly here on 670 The Score. And I wanted to ask Dr. Gina also, what are the most common reasons for fatigue?
Well, I think one of them is what we're saying right now. People are just totally overworked. They're on their phones. They're able to be reached even when they're well out of the office. People can still find them. So some is just that we're just too busy. Some other things are that people are not eating well, and they don't eat well for decades of their life. So all of a sudden they're exhausted. They can't repair. They can't sleep well. They're just kind of a mess. Some people don't exercise enough, and so they never actually burn enough energy to then feel good, but then also be able to sleep calmly at night. And then when they try to work out, it's too intense, it's exhausting, and they don't know what to do. So they need a plan, and they don't have that. Otherwise, it can be nutrient deficiencies. We will see iron deficiency anemia. We'll see low B12. We will absolutely see a ton of thyroid conditions, and all of that makes people exhausted. So
is the first play typically a medical play where you say, look, let's get lab tests and figure out what's out of whack to see how this is contributing? Is that a big part of the workup and solution?
Always. Definitely in my office, you're going to get a baseline blood work that's going to be a little bit broader than I think what's normally pulled for an annual. And then if we need to, we can do nutrient testing, we can do tissue testing, we can do hormone testing, just really to figure out, depending on what they come in telling me and what their personal issues are. After the baseline blood work, then we have to follow up and say, where is this going and how do we help you fastest?
Good stuff, Dr. Gina Sirchio. I appreciate it. And your website, lgihealth.com?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hey, thanks for shedding some light. No pun intended. We got to get Dr. Cole to sleep.
I just got to get me, Gina, you just got me to stay asleep.
Stay asleep.
Go to sleep.
That's
no
right.
problem.
Boy.
I have a few ideas in my head already.
All right. We're gonna talk. We're gonna speak offline. Okay.
That sounds great.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Dr. Cole, I do feel sorry for you. My goodness. That
I just get used to
it. You do that every night?
A lot. I know the news. I know a lot about the news, though. That's when I read the news. It's the worst thing to do, though, to get the brain upregulated like that. Yeah.
If I didn't get my sleep and stay asleep, and if I need to get up to go to the restroom, that's one thing, but I'll fall right back asleep. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about cartilage regrowth treatment. I'm not sure what that is. Dr. Cole's going to fill us in along with a young woman named Jasmine Stiles. So stay with us. You're listening to Sports Medicine Weekly, only on
670 The Score.